Hello everyone. Today we're going to explore two powerful formulas in Google Sheets: the substitute formula and the regex-replace formula. The substitute formula helps with simple text replacements, such as swapping one word or character for another. On the other hand, regex-replace allows you to use regular expressions, special patterns for finding and replacing text, which is ideal for more complex tasks. Let's start with the first formula. Substitute. We'll begin with a simple example and review the formula's syntax. This formula consists of components such as text to search, search for, replace with, and optionally, we can also specify the occurrence number. In our first example, we have an original text, like a city name, and we need to turn it into an abbreviation. To do this, we select the cell with the text we want to change. Next, we specify what we want to replace, in this case, the city name, and set it to be replaced with our abbreviation LA. And as a result, we get our updated text. Let's move on to the next example. Say we have an original text like New York and want to remove an extra character in the city's name. To do this, we also select the cell containing the text. Then, we set a space as the character we want to replace and replace it with nothing. This gives us the desired result. Now let's look at a more complex example of using the formula. Suppose we have multiple commas in our text, and we only want to remove the first comma, not all of them. For this, we select the cell with our text. Then we choose to replace the comma specifically, set it to be replaced with nothing, and specify the occurrence. In this case, we'll select the first occurrence of the comma. If, for example, we change the occurrence to 2, we'll see that the second comma is removed instead, while the first one remains. But let's revert it to the first occurrence. In this way, with a few simple steps and syntax, we can edit our data arrays. Now let's move on to the regex-replace formula. Since it works with regular expressions, it's a fairly complex formula. So I recommend starting by familiarizing yourself with it in more detail using Google's help documentation. You can access this by selecting Learn More. The documentation will guide us through the syntax, which includes the text we'll be working with. The regular expression or pattern to match, and the replacement, what we'll replace the match with. To explore all the possibilities of regular expressions and their substitutions, you can visit the detailed Google Docs help page, where you'll find Learn More, How to Use for these expressions. There, a comprehensive guide helps you understand what patterns you can use within your formula syntax. Let's move on to our examples. Today, I've prepared a few simple examples and one more complex one. In the first example, we'll try to remove all characters that aren't numbers. For instance, if we have a phone number and we want to keep only the numerical values. To do this, we select the cell containing the text we're referencing. Our regular expression will be set up to keep only numeric values by specifying that we want to replace everything that isn't a number with nothing. As a result, when we apply this formula, we'll see that our output contains only numeric values. If, for example, we change the expression to replace numeric values with nothing, then we'll be left with all non-numeric characters. But in our example, we only want to keep the numbers, so we'll leave the formula as it is. The second example is similar to the first, but in this case, we want to keep only the alphabetic characters in our text, removing any other symbols. Here, we use a regular expression that matches alphabetic values, and we set it up to replace all non-alphabetic characters with nothing. This way, we're left with only text. Similarly, if we modify the regular expression to the opposite, by removing an additional symbol, we'd end up replacing only alphabetic characters, leaving everything that isn't a letter. To view our final result as we intended, we'll revert the formula back to the original configuration. And now, let's look at a third example. This one is a bit more complex. In this example, we want to isolate just the city. This is a common need when working with data, where an address might include details like the city, street, and house number. In this case, we'll see how to select only the city. Let's go over the formula. It consists of several parts. The first part is the text we're referencing. The second part is our regular expression, and finally, what we want to replace it with. Let's break down this regular expression in more detail. The initial part specifies the start of the string, indicating that the pattern begins with the first character of the string. Next, the part with square brackets and a caret inside means any character except a comma. We follow this with a plus symbol, which represents one or more occurrences. In this case, the expression finds a sequence of any characters, except commas, with a length of one or more characters. As a result, this pattern captures the first word or phrase up to the first comma. Since in our example there are 5 elements separated by commas and we need the third element, we'll replicate this pattern 3 times and focus on the third instance. In the third instance, we use parentheses. Parentheses create a captured group, meaning that what's inside them will be saved and returned as the result. Then we see a comma, a dot, and this symbol. The comma separates the target element from the rest of the string, and the dot with an asterisk represents any character 0 or more times. Together, this sequence captures any characters from that point to the end of the string. The final symbol, which signifies the end of the string, ensures that we disregard anything beyond our captured group. In this way, we filter out everything after the third comma and focus only on what came before it. Next, let's look at what we're replacing with in this regular expression. This symbol means that we're returning the content of the first captured group. Since we only have one captured group, it will return the value of the city. For example, if we wanted to modify the formula to capture a different group depending on our needs, we could create 3 captured groups within the formula. Then, by adjusting the formula, we could choose to display either the house number or the city, for instance. In that case, it would reference the captured group by its index, such as 3 for the third group. Overall, that's it. I want to emphasize that working with these formulas can be challenging, but once you master basic regular expressions, they can become a powerful tool for editing your text values and working with data. Give it a like if you enjoyed the video. If you still have any questions, ask them in the comments.